Okay, we're going to do top five really quick. So, since today is President's Day, we have decided to bring you the top five moments from the President's Cup. How about that? The President's Cup, Internationals versus the USA. Some people call it the redheaded stepchild of the Ryder Cup. I don't know if I believe that's correct, but I don't think they're too far off at the same time. But the President's Cup is still a lot of fun, still has some great moments. So we're here to bring you the top five moments, snake drafts. So we're going to go back and forth, okay, Scaff, on each of our top five moments for the President's Cup. Before we get going, thoughts on President's Day and the President's Cup, T-Bone.
Thoughts on President's Day? I wish I had it off. I don't know if everyone does. We talked about that earlier. Would have been a great day to play golf. Thoughts on the President's Cup? How many times has the international team won?
It's one time. They
Really?
have won one time. Correct.
Wow.
There's been 16 President's Cup. 16 President's Cup.
16.
Yes, it was first played in 1994. So, little inside baseball, I guess. The PGA Tour and the PGA of America used to be the same organization, but then Arnie and Jack kind of split off and helped found the PGA Tour, which is more for your touring, traveling professionals, and then the PGA of America deals more with your head pro at your club or at the local public course. Those are PGA professionals, not the tour guys. So they were the same organization. They split. There was bad blood there, but I think everything is like time heals all wounds. They're good now. They play nice. But the PGA of America owns the PGA Championship as well as the Ryder Cup. PGA Tour did not have that. So I think this was their response to the Ryder Cup, is having the internationals versus the United States of America. So, that's kind of a little brief history of the President's Cup. As we mentioned, fairly lopsided. It is they've won one. The internationals have won one trip or one time, and there's been one tie. So it is 12-1-1 advantage of the United States. So it's the U.S. versus everybody outside of Europe, pretty much. A lot of players come from Australia, a few from Canada, South Africa are the main hubs, I would say, where they pull from. And then you have like your Hideki Matsuyamas from Japan and a few other countries like that. So you know who played for the President's Cup one time? Angel Cabrera. Do you remember him? From Argentina, won the Masters, and last I heard, I think he's in jail.
Yeah, he's behind bars. He hasn't been
Yeah,
playing in
we
the
need to
Masters.
do. Yeah, we need to do what happened to that. Well,
Yeah.
when he starts a segment, what happened to that guy? And he'll be number one.
I like that. That could be a good segment. But yeah, I think we're going to try and do this top five on a weekly basis. I like being on brand here. I like the President's Day theme. I'm being totally candid. I'm going to have trouble coming up with my top five moments, but I say we get into it. See where it takes us.
If we need to do top three, we can adjust. But the idea is to be top five. So T-Bone, I will let you go first, since there's one pretty obvious one I think is the best moments of, or maybe not the best moment, the most memorable moment of the President's Cup. But I will start with you. What is your best moment from the President's Cup?
Cool. I've got a few. I say my favorite, most memorable moment. To be honest with you, I don't know what year it is. Um, I don't know what day it was, what the format was, but it's an iconic video of Tiger Woods. I want to say it's singles, and the video has been edited and put to Dr. Dre music, and it gets me so pumped every time I see it. But he hits what looks like a stinger 3-iron from probably 250 yards into a par five, does the club twirl, and it almost goes in for an albatross. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you definitely will when you see it. And it's just, I don't even know if it was meaningful, but it was just so badass. So much swag. Probably Tiger's best club twirl of all time. So that's kind of my iconic key moment that I think of when I think of the President's Cup. Do you have any
There's
idea what I'm
definitely
talking
been
about?
some. Absolutely, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
He's in like the checkered, kind of
Yeah,
argyle
yeah.
looking
The
sweater.
sweater. Yes, yes. It's like
Yeah.
khaki and black. Yeah,
You know, it's interesting. I think there have been more like Tiger fist pumps from the President's Cup because his Ryder Cup record sucks. He's performed a little bit better in the President's Cup. So, my number one is probably the most obvious, most memorable one, the tie. 2003, South Africa. Ernie Els and Tiger Woods go neck and neck. They're in a playoff. It's the Sunday. Everybody's played it all the way through. They're in a playoff, and the captains for those teams were Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player, and they decide it was best to end in a tie and let the teams share the cup. They've done like a documentary about it in the past. It's pretty cool. So everybody go check that out or just go watch it on YouTube somewhere. Uh, Ties suck though. Ties are the worst, especially for golfers, for elite athletes who are that competitive. I mean, Tiger Woods is like the Michael Jordan of golf, and we all watched The Last Dance. Like Tiger, like if you would have told Michael Jordan, like, "Hey, sorry, this is going to end in a tie," like I understand they were pushing daylight and all that stuff. That's not lost on me, but still, definitely made it for the most memorable President's Cup, in my opinion.
and correct me if I'm wrong. This is similar to, or if not the same as the Ryder Cup, where you have to win outright. If you do tie, it's whoever's retained the cup, aka the previous winner. But they decided to call it a tie.
I don't think that rule had been in place yet for the President's Cup. So that's why they agreed to share it. Because, yeah, you're right. If the Ryder Cup, you have to beat the other team, or if it doesn't end in a tie, then you retain the cup. You got to beat them to get
Yeah,
it. I don't think they have this rule
cool.
yet.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yep.
Well, uh, all right, moving on. It's funny I don't really have any like big wins or big victories in my list, but another moment that's super memorable for me is Woody Austin. Um, for those of you guys that don't know Woody Austin, kind of a character, goofball,
I
hothead.
forgot about that.
He he hit a shot, or he was playing a shot that was on the edge of the water, and he had 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on ground. Puts on his rain gear, ends up taking a hack at it, and goes full head underwater, club in the water, just totally drenched. And it's a hilarious video. I think the next day someone gave him goggles to wear, and he was walking around wearing goggles. So I think I almost feel like the US team in the President's Cup just like has fun. Like they can just kind of like it's not really a tournament. Um, last year got a little close, but I think there's just a lot of things like that that happen. But if you haven't seen it, first go look up the Tiger President's Cup, um, 3 wood or whatever the hell he hits, and then Woody Austin taking a plunge.
That's an all-time moment. I forgot about that. Yeah, he put on the rain gear and like just went head first into the lake. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So my next time, number two, next moment is how about the handshake? Tiger at Royal Melbourne was playing Abraham Answer. Abraham Answer was like, man, I want Tiger. He's that young guy. Give me the goat. I could take him down. It's like somebody trying to tell Michael Jordan, hey, I can beat you one on one, and he's 6 years old and still just taking him to school. That's pretty much what happened here. Tiger beats Abraham Answer. And as soon as that puck goes in, takes off his hat, gives him that handshake. I mean, I think the internet broke when that happened. And then, of course, like the memes start going out. There's this one video where like somebody timed it. Tiger like hits it and immediately starts shaking his hand like before it went in. It was great. It was an all time
Yeah.
moment. I love that from the President's Cup and a more recent one too. So that's pretty neat. And of course, Tiger's involved, so it's great. That's my number two, Tiger handshake.
Nice. Yeah, I think the edited videos were right when he hits it and shaking the hand. That's so good. But it
It's so
wasn't
awesome.
that much different. Wasn't that much different. But yeah, that was a pretty epic moment. So are we doing top three? I think we cap it at top three.
All right, we'll do three.
I can think on my feet if you want, but you'll see how desperate I am with that third pick.
Let's hear it. What
So,
you got?
so I want to say it was so the Ryder Cup's every odd year. Sorry, President's Cup's every odd year, right?
Let me see. It's going to be every even year now because they
Did
switched it
COVID
because of
do
COVID.
something?
So yeah, because
Yeah.
so
Okay.
2022 was at Quill Hollow, and now 20 yeah, because the Ryder Cup was on even years, but it was on odd years pre 9/11. So 9/11
Gotcha.
switched it up, and now because of COVID, they're going back. So yeah, the next President's Cup
Gotcha.
will be 2024 at Royal Montreal in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Cool. Cool. Well, this was probably, I want to say right before COVID, whichever President's Cup that was, probably two ago. And if you've seen the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup, they'll do post round press conferences where they'll have the whole team lined up in a press conference. And there was one year the U.S. had just won, and someone asked Jordan something in the post round press conference, and apparently the whole day there were these drunk fans these drunk U.S. fans, and every time Si Woo Kim got up to it, they would go, "See Woo shaking that ass, shaking that ass, shaking that ass." And they asked Jordan about it, and he ended up singing that at the press conference, probably after a few adult beverages. And I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in a press conference. So,
Sii Woo shaking that ass, shaking that ass, shaking that ass.
again, it shows you these top three. I've got one shot from Tiger, a guy going in the water, and then Jordan singing "See Woo shaking that ass." So it shows you how competitive this tournament is in my eyes. But hey, we're doing it for the president, baby.
It's for President's Day. It's for the brand. Yes, I'm with you. That's an all-time moment. See, woo, shaking that ass, shaking. It just like kind of came out of nowhere too. That's was the best part. And then you have
Yeah.
Patrick Reed sitting right next to Jordan, cracking up, which like, LOL, he'll never be on the right. He'll never be on the team again. So at least for the foreseeable future. My
Yeah.
next one,
All right.
wrapping it up
Take
here,
us
man.
home.
I am going to go with Mike Weir taking down Tiger. That year, 2007 President's Cup was at Royal Montreal in Canada, and Mike Weir is arguably the most successful Canadian golfer ever. Masters champion 2003, lefty, likable, was playing so it was like a really good player at one point, and then I don't know if it was like injury that got him or what, but maybe it was that the stack and tilt swing that he started promoting. I don't know. Anyway,
Was he a stack
but
tilt guy?
he was. I did. I remember the golf infomercials. He was like the only guy that they would promote the stack and tilt
Yeah.
swing about.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't have
But
too many guys
yes,
that could promote it.
no, they did not. But 2007, it was in Canada on Sunday. Mike Weir goes head to head against Tiger Woods, and he takes down Tiger. Pretty awesome. Good moment for Mike Weir. Yes, again, US won pretty handily, I believe. Let me look it up. Yeah, they won 19 and a half to 14 and a half. So I think it's interesting. Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player were both captains for like three straight. So that's 6 straight years. Clearly, they couldn't get anybody else to do it at that time. But
Yeah.
I digress. So yeah, that's a good moment there. I would say. Good. We got to have one for the international team. They only have one win anyway, 1998. So let's give him Mike Weir in Canada taking down the goat. He made a birdie on 17. Let's see, and then Tiger hit a shot in the water on 18, and he did not chip in for par, and which ultimately Mike Weir won the match. So good for him, Mike Weir moment. You weren't expecting a Mike Weir moment on today's podcast, were you?
Nah. That or the stack and tilt. That was the double whammy. It was good.
Well, that's what happens when you bring Mike Weir into the mix. Like you just the two things he's most known for. Masters in '03 and Stack and Tilt.
That's all I got, honestly. And I didn't even know about the stack and tilt thing. So you learn something new.